Hello, thank you for joining me today. Together we're going to take a look at the song Your Great Love, referencing nothing but a Bible and logic to talk about what the song really means. Before we get started, let me say that this is one opinion critique that I am rationalizing with logic. If you have any other thoughts and opinions, please feel free to discuss those in a respectful way. Your Great Love was written by Sean Caron and Jess Cates and was published by Worship Together Music. The link below will take you to the recording from Belle Reve. If you're unfamiliar with the song, you can take a listen to it there. The point of this is to look at the words and not get caught up with the music, but the musical format is still important to understand a properly written word and the overall content of the song. This recording follows the form verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus 2, ending. You could probably cut that last part in a dozen different ways. I am saying chorus 2 omits the last line of the chorus, and that the ending is the last line from chorus 2 and then the last line from the chorus 1 repeated twice. No matter how we cut the end up, we have 4 lyrically different sections: verse 1, chorus, verse 2, and the bridge. Verse 1 starts with, "In the darkness, in the pain, hope is rising, hope is rising." At first, this seems to set the stage for the song, but that's not exactly the case. These lines do seem to come from Isaiah 9, verse 2, which is quoted in Matthew 4, verse 16. "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in the land of deep darkness, on them has light shone." I do like that "in the pain" is included. It adds a little more depth than simply darkness. I'm not sure how to feel about the "hope is rising" repeated. I think in this case, it helps build that image of showing rising, and these lines really are just imagery to start the song, and it does paint a nice picture, but it gets left behind when we move on. When we move to "King of David, give us faith, and come remind us, come remind our hearts." King of David is referenced in many places, one example being in Matthew 1, verse 6, in the genealogy. It is interesting that the ask here is for faith. Is faith not part of the hope that is rising? Again, we have this repeated part, but here I think it really is different. Remind us seems to be more of the mind versus remind our hearts. One is focused on memory and the other on feelings. However, at this point, there has not been anything to remind us of. The idea here is probably to remind us of the love, as it would fit both the memory and the feelings. This is how the verse ends, and realistically, there is no answer. So the first half of the verse is imagery that mostly gets ignored, and the second half is asking God for faith and to remind us, presumably, of his love. The chorus starts off with, "Your great love has won. This can never be undone." I think these lines are powerful, but what is really going on here? Love has won, but there has been no battle listed or anything. Did it win against the darkness? And why can it not be undone? These questions do start to get answered in the rest of the chorus. "By your grace in blood." This gives us the explanation of how it won, through grace in blood, or through Christ's death and resurrection. So an answer is then it won over sin and death. This line does come from Ephesians 1, verse 7. "In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses according to the riches of his grace." The next line is, "You have sealed the light in us." This answers that question of how this cannot be undone. The light is sealed inside of us. It was actually a pastor friend of mine that pointed out the power of this line. Not only is it saying that this is sealed inside of us, but it is sealed from the inside as well. This is like a box where the lock is locked from the inside. Something that could only be locked if someone was inside of it. This does seem to stem from Ephesians 1, verse 13. In him you also, when you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, and believed in him, were sealed with the promised Holy Spirit. The chorus closes with, we are yours, we are yours. And this is the definitive answer of what has been won, us. The chorus does seem to be a little rocky at the start, but it does resolve itself without leaning on the verse really at all. Verse 2 makes an odd shift to examples from Jesus' life. Touch the broken, heal the lame. Again, references are plenty, but let's go with Matthew 15, verse 13. And great crowds came to him, bringing with them the lame, the blind, the crippled, the mute, and many others. And they put them at his feet, and he healed them. Then, walk on water, walk on water. This is seen in Matthew, Mark, and John. I do have an issue with this repeat, because it doesn't add anything. The imagery is not enhanced, and the message is not added to. I think this line could have included an additional example instead of trying to mirror the repeat from the first verse. The verse then shifts away from examples and back to general statements. King of glory, power to save. We did just see examples of that power, so there isn't really anything wrong with this line, apart from the fact that it does feel pretty sudden. King of glory is something that can be seen throughout Psalm 24, and we see the power listed in 1 Corinthians 1, verse 18. For the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. Verse 2 closes with breathe it over us. This again is not the same repetition as we say in verse 1. We are left on our own as to what is being breathed over us, but it seems like the best answer is that power. This verse again is a little lacking to me. It just feels like it could have been completely different and connected better with the chorus. We come to the bridge. We will sing to you forever. We will sing to you forever. We will sing to you forever and a day. This is continued to be repeated 4 times, with the occasional and thrown in between the repeats. This is simply a declaration of our praise that will not stop as our thankfulness for what has been done. This idea can be seen through a number of different psalms, including 89 verse 1. I will sing of the steadfast love of the Lord forever. With my mouth I will make known your faithfulness to all generations. That's it. That's the song. Honestly, when I started this one, I thought I liked it more, but to me, these verses are just there to be filler, and the chorus is very powerful, but as a whole, the song has some issues and kind of falls flat. However, those issues can really push one to think and potentially grow in their faith. As far as if this belongs in a church service, to me, the answer is yes. This is a very solid chorus, and the verses have just enough content that could really push someone to think and grow in their faith. This song hits that perfect balance, really, of being able to push someone and still letting those praises ring throughout the building. But what do you think? Does this song need some major help, or does it work to really push people to think a little bit harder? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to be polite and respectful. Until next time, think before you sing.